My family overlooked my car accident. When their finances collapsed, they lost it. I ended it all with a single decision. Now, they're pleading for my forgiveness. After my wreck landed me in the ICU, my family's group chat was flooded with snapshots from my sister's luxury spa getaway. Not one of them showed up. Days later, still draped in a hospital gown, I checked my phone, 64 missed calls and a text from my dad. "Call us immediately, it's urgent." So I did. Then it's surreal, feeling your life slip away in utter calm.
No shooting, no skilling braque, just the sound of glass splintering and airbag slamming into my face.
1 second, I was planning dinner, maybe grilled chicken or fast food burritos. The next, I was dangling upside down, strapped in like a marionette, staring through a broken windshield at a stop sign I never saw coming. Someone pried open the door, asking if I could hear them. I nodded. Blood from a gash near my temple trickled into my eye, and I tasted copper at the back of my throat. Everything after that blurred: sirens, medication, the sharp smell of antiseptic. It all melted into a long, dull haze of time. When I fully came to, I was in a hospital room reeking of cleaner and stale air. A nurse listed my injuries: dislocated shoulder, 2 fractured ribs, and a minor concussion. Minor, they called it. I couldn't even sit up without help, but that was minor. They said I was fortunate. I didn't feel fortunate. I felt abandoned. After moving from the ER to a regular room, I kept waiting for my phone to glow with a message. Someone had to know, right? Families talk, don't they? I thought Dad might have gotten a call. Maybe Lena heard something. Surely Mom would check in. I was wrong. My phone stayed silent on the hospital tray for 2 days, no vibration, no notification. I didn't touch it until late on the second night. When I finally unlocked it, I saw 27 unread messages. Not from friends or colleagues, but from the family group chat. For a fleeting moment, I thought they cared, that they knew. Then I opened the first message: Lena in a plush robe, holding a wine glass, flashing a peace sign. The caption read, "SPA vibes." Another photo followed, her in a steam room. Then another. Gourmet sushi. Freshly manicured nails, feet soaking in lavender water, a smug smile behind a clay mask, each image more oblivious than the last. Mom commented on nearly every one. Adorable. You earned this. Love you, honey. Dad tossed in a few thumbs-up emojis. Not a single text asked where I was. No mention of the crash or me. I just stared at the screen, stunned. Had I told them about the accident? No, I hadn't. I was unconscious when they brought me in. The nurse asked if I wanted to call anyone, and I said no. Deep down, I think I wanted to see if they'd notice I was gone without prompting. They didn't. 3 days passed. The only visitors were nurses and a physical therapist who looked barely out of high school. He kept urging me to breathe deeply to keep my ribs from locking up. I followed his advice, but every breath felt like a knife twisting in my chest. Lying there in that itchy hospital gown, bruised and alone, I thought about all the times I'd bailed them out. Late-night calls from Lena begging for cash. Quietly covering Mom's credit card bills. Dad's car repair last winter, which I paid for because he said he was strapped. Every favor, every just this once, I never hesitated. I was the dependable one, the problem solver. And now nothing. By day 4, I was discharged but told not to drive or work for a week. I sat in the hospital lobby for an hour, waiting for a ride share because no one offered to get me. I didn't even ask. I went home in the hospital gown under a sweatshirt, unable to lift my arm to change. I slept most of the day. The next morning, I turned my phone's ringer back on. 64 missed calls, all from the past 48 hours. Mostly from Dad, a few from Lena, one from Mom. No voicemails, just a text from Dad: "Call us immediately, it's urgent." I dialed him right away. The phone didn't even ring before he picked up. His voice was tense, laced with panic, but he didn't raise it. Not yet. He started talking about some issue with documents. Something about accounts being locked. I stayed quiet, letting him ramble. Lying in my apartment, still in that hospital gown, I realized something as I listened. For the first time in years, they needed me more than I needed them. And I was done playing the fool. When I called Dad back, I was still slumped in the same chair I'd collapsed into after getting home. I hadn't changed out of the gown, just thrown a hoodie over it, the rough fabric scraping my ribs. The phone didn't ring once before he answered, like he'd been clutching it, pacing. His voice was shaky, not angry, unusual for him. He said they'd been trying to reach me for 2 days. I didn't respond to that. He launched into a jumbled explanation about Lena's unpaid rent, her card getting declined at a diner, and her bank account being inaccessible. At first, I thought she'd been hacked, but then he mentioned her backup card, tied to my name, was frozen too. He kept talking. Mom tried to send money for bills, but it failed. Her credit card, also linked to me, got rejected at a store. She thought it was a glitch until the bank flagged suspicious activity. Then her phone bill didn't autopay. That's when they freaked out. They thought I'd been hacked or there was a bank error. It never crossed their minds I'd done it. Dad asked, almost hesitantly, if I knew what was happening. I stayed silent for a moment, letting the quiet do its work. Then I said calmly that I'd frozen everything. I canceled the secondary cards, shut down Lena's backup account, and blocked all outgoing transfers. He sounded floored, like I'd smashed a vase in the dining room. He asked why. So I told him. I said I'd been in a car crash 4 days ago. Flipped the car. Broken ribs. Dislocated shoulder. Concussion. I told him I'd spent 3 nights in the hospital and left alone because no one in the family noticed I was gone. Then I told him what broke me: the spa photos, the group chat buzzing with wine glasses, sushi platters, and hot tubs while I was hooked to and for. I said I saw it all. And not one of them, Mom, Lena, or him, checked on me, asked why I wasn't responding. I didn't want a parade. I just wanted someone to care. He tried to backtrack, saying they didn't know, that they'd have come if they had. I asked why they didn't wonder why I'd gone silent. Why no one thought to check in. I said they didn't notice because they didn't care. Not really. That's when he got defensive. He said Lena had been dealing with a lot, that Mom was overwhelmed, and the spa trip was to help Lena's stress. He even said I should have spoken up. That was it. I told him I was tired of always being the one to reach out. I was done being the family's ATM. I'd paid Lena's rent 4 times in 2 years. Cleared Mom's debts. Covered Dad's medical bill he never thanked me for. And now when I needed something, not money, not favors, just basic concern, they didn't even know I was gone. He asked if I was really going to cut off my family over this. I asked, over this? No. I already had. I said quietly, lying in that hospital bed, scrolling through spa photos, knowing I could have died, and they wouldn't have noticed until their brunch bill bounced. Then I hung up. That night, I opened my laptop and accessed every account they'd forgotten I'd set up for temporary help. Accounts still in my name. I made a list and went through it systematically: phone bills, streaming subscriptions, rent, credit cards, student loans, even Lena's yoga studio membership. Everything ran through me. I shut it all down. Froze the cards. Cancelled autopays. Changed passwords. I requested my name be removed from joint leases and accounts. I wasn't angry, I was precise. I wanted every tie severed, every channel closed. I didn't tell them. I just waited. The first text came the next morning. Lena, in all caps, asking why her card wasn't working. Then another. Then a call. Mom texted, saying her account was locked and could I call the bank. Like last time, Dad asked if I was mad and if we could talk. I ignored them all. This wasn't revenge. It was reality hitting them. And I wasn't going to stop it. By the week's end, they were spiraling. Lena called 7 times in one day. Her voicemails got wilder, confused, then irritated, then sobbing by the 3rd. I couldn't tell if it was genuine anymore. She said she was humiliated when her card got declined at her favorite bistro, then couldn't pay rent or book a rideshare. Her landlord was threatening fees, and the spa hit her with a huge cancellation charge. I listened to each message without replying. Mom texted next, confused about her bank acting up, asking if I could fix it. No apology. No mention of the crash. No how are you. Just straight to the issue, like I was her tech support. I didn't reply. The next day, she sent 3 more texts, her tone shifting from polite to sharp. Dad was the only one who tried to sound reasonable. He called again Saturday morning, Left a voicemail. He said he knew I was upset, but freezing everything was too much. Lena was sometimes thoughtless, and Mom didn't mean to ignore me. He said it was unfair to cut them off without warning. That's when it clicked. They didn't see it as me reclaiming what was mine. They saw it as betrayal. That told me everything. Lena showed up at my apartment. She buzzed 3 times. I didn't answer. She texted from the lobby, saying she just wanted to talk. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, I saw her car peel out through the blinds. No more texts after that. She wanted access, not reconciliation. She wanted her life back online, not the truth. The next Monday, the bank called. Lena had tried to make a purchase with my old joint card info, which I'd already canceled. They flagged it and asked if I wanted to report it as fraud. I didn't. I just told them to keep the freeze and monitor for further attempts. Silence followed for a few days. Too silent. Then came the group text. Mom, can we please handle this like adults? No mention of what they'd done. No nod to the hospital. No acknowledgement of how much they leaned on me. Just a polished guilt trip. I didn't reply. 2 hours later, Dad called again. I answered this time. He didn't shout. He was cautious, like he was treading on glass. He said they were all struggling. Lena was stressed, Mom distracted. He called me the strong one, said they needed me to step up again. That word, needed. I let him talk for 5 minutes, thinking I might be softening. Then I asked one question. When was the last time any of you did something for me? Silence. A long one. Then he said, that's not how families work. That's when I knew this wasn't temporary. This was permanent. They'd taken my silence for granted too long. They mistook my kindness for duty. They thought blood meant ownership. Not anymore. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I just said the support was over. I'd handle my own life, pay my own bills. They could do the same. He tried to argue, but I ended the call before he could. It wasn't anger. It was clarity. And I could see the fallout unfolding. Lena's phone got cut off 3 days after I shut everything down. I didn't know at first. Her Instagram going dark tipped me off. No stories. No posts. She used to share everything. I checked out of curiosity. Her profile was still there, but blank. An hour later, it was gone entirely. Deleted. That was the first real sign her perfect little spa world was unraveling. Mom, meanwhile, kept pretending. She posted in the group chat like nothing was wrong. A recipe for autumn stew. A throwback song. A selfie with a scented candle, captioned, feeling cozy. No one replied. Not even Dad. Then a letter arrived at my place. Not a text, not an email, but a letter in Mom's elegant handwriting. The envelope was heavy. Inside was a 3-page note about how stressful things were, how she hoped we could be a family again. She said she was proud of me. That I'd always been the responsible one. The glue. That she and Lena were struggling, and they needed a loan until Lena sorted things out. No mention of the crash, no apology, just a sales pitch. She even included evidence, a screenshot of Lena's overdrawn bank account, negative $418.72, and a credit card statement with $3,000 in luxury purchases, autopays, and that spa membership she didn't cancel. At the bottom, a contract. A typed loan agreement with interest terms, a repayment schedule, spaces for me and Lena to sign, and a witness line. People use these to protect themselves from strangers in court, and they sent it to me. The guy who paid her rent 6 times without a word sat with that letter for a long time. It wasn't just bold, it was surreal, like they'd lost grip on reality. I didn't reply. That night, someone knocked on my door. Not the buzzer, a real knock. It was 9:30 p.m., and no one visits that late. I checked the peephole. It was Ethan, Lena's ex. I hadn't seen him since their split 2 years ago. I opened the door, and he looked uneasy, like he already regretted coming. He said Lena gave him my address, told him I was spiraling, and she needed his help. She'd painted me as unhinged, cutting everyone off for no reason, abandoning her. I asked if she was staying with him. He said no. She'd asked, but he wasn't naive. Then he said something surprising. She was crashing on Mom's couch, and they were telling people I'd lost it. I didn't say anything. He kept talking. He said he didn't buy it at first, but when he heard the story she was spreading, that I'd snapped over a small family spat and cut them off because I couldn't handle stress, he came to see me himself. So I told him everything: the crash, the hospital, the silence, the money trail, the shutdown. He listened without defending her or making excuses. When he left, I thought that was it. But the next morning, he sent a screenshot. Mom had posted on Facebook a vague status with a pointed message: "Please pray for our family." Some people lash out when they're hurting. We're trying to stay strong through a tough time. Dozens of comments, sending love. Hope you're okay. You're such a strong mom. That's when it sank in. They weren't just dodging the truth, they were rewriting it. They were crafting a story where I was unstable, dramatic, the villain. They couldn't access my money anymore, so they went for my reputation. I didn't get mad. I got prepared. I opened my phone, pulled up the folder I'd started after the crash, and added more. Screenshots of the group chat from my hospital stay, missed calls, the letter, the loan contract, the spa charges, and the Facebook post. Then I sent them all to Dad. No message, no explanation, just the evidence. Hours later he called. I didn't answer. Then he texted, "I didn't realize. I understand now. I'm sorry." He didn't defend them. That's when I knew their fragile world had already crumbled. I'd just given it the final nudge. After that text, Dad went quiet. No follow-up, no calls, no guilt trips. Just those 6 words: "I didn't realize. I understand now. I'm sorry." I didn't reply. I wanted to believe it meant something, that someone in that family finally saw what I'd carried for years. But I wasn't falling for it. I'd heard too many empty apologies, too many promises that led back to the same place. They needed something again. What happened next surprised me. 2 days later, I got an email from Lena's landlord. My email was still listed as her emergency contact. The message was clear: unpaid rent, no communication, and an eviction notice looming. She'd missed the last payment, and fees were stacking up. They'd tried calling her. No answer. They gave her 5 days before filing. I stared at the screen, remembering all the times I'd sent money to that office. Quietly, automatically. She didn't thank me half the time. Once she texted, "T-check's done," then ghosted me for weeks. She'd burned through her lifelines. That night, Ethan texted again. He'd gone to Mom's to grab some of his stuff Lena still had. He said she looked rough, swollen eyes, pacing, sleepless. She tried to get him to talk to me again, saying she couldn't believe I'd do this to her. He didn't buy it. Then he said something unexpected. Lena and Mom had a blowout fight. Lena blamed Mom for not fixing things, and Mom snapped that she wasn't a bank. Ethan said it got ugly. Neighbors called the cops ugly. Lena took Mom's car without asking the next morning, leaving her stranded. That was the first real crack in Lena's facade. She turned on the only person still backing her. And I realized something: they weren't just scared because the money was gone. They were terrified because their whole world revolved around me silently carrying the load. When I stepped back, it wasn't just about bills, it was about their identity. They had nothing solid without me funding their illusion. I thought that was the end, but the real end came 3 days later. When I got home, an envelope was wedged under my door. No stamp, no name, just folded paper inside. I opened it. A single sheet with a printed screenshot, a bank transfer confirmation from an old Venmo account of Lena's I'd forgotten she could access. It showed a failed attempt to pull $900 from one of my dormant accounts, untouched for over a year. She tried to slip it through quietly. She didn't know I'd already locked that account days earlier. The transfer failed, but she still tried. She dug deep, remembered that account, and made one last desperate grab. That was it. No more gray area, no more chances for repair. I went to the police the next morning. I didn't press full charges yet. But I filed a fraud alert and documented the attempt, just in case. The bank flagged her name, IP, and device. If she tried again, it'd trigger automatically. I didn't tell her. I didn't tell anyone. I let it sit there, like a trap waiting to spring. Then I blocked them all. Phone, email, social media, group chat. I even locked down accounts they didn't know about, just to be safe. I sealed every entry point. The fallout kept rolling. Lena lost her apartment. Mom's utilities got cut off for non-payment. Their social circle shrank, probably tired of the chaos. Dad stayed silent. I think he finally saw the cost of staying quiet. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just lived, quietly, peacefully, for the first time in years. No phone buzzing at midnight, no random bank alerts, no guilt. Just silence. They called it selfish. I called it freedom. I cut them off 2 months ago. No calls, no texts, no letters. Just silence. The kind I'd craved in the middle of their noise. Lena never apologized. Not for the fraud attempt. Not for the lies. Not for ignoring the hospital. Last I heard, she was crashing with a college friend in a cramped downtown apartment. She lost her car, her place. Most of the people she used to flaunt online are gone. Turns out being the fun one only lasts until the bills come due. Mom's still pretending. My cousin sent me screenshots of another group post where she mentioned me, some vague line about broken families and learning to forgive. Forgive what? Being the only one who finally said no. She never got that it wasn't about money. It was about being invisible. I was their solution, their fallback, their silent donor, but never a person, never someone they thought could break. And I did break quietly, in a hospital bed with no visitors and 27 unread spa photos. Dad stayed completely silent. That surprised me most. I thought he'd try to patch things up, if only to ease his own guilt. But I think he finally understood what it meant when I didn't respond to his last text. It wasn't a threat, it was a final word. I moved last week. New apartment, new bank, new phone number. No forwarding address. I didn't even tell my cousin, who tried to stay neutral. I'm not scared of them, but I'm not letting anyone disrupt my peace this time. The old me would have left a window open, just in case. The new me doesn't. I still have the screenshots, the letter, Lena's voicemail crying, "How could you do this to me?" during her Venmo attempt. I'm not after revenge. I want to remember. Because no one tells you that cutting off your family doesn't always feel heroic. It feels like loss, like you're grieving something that was never what you hoped. But every day, that loss gets quieter. Every day, my phone stays silent. And that silence feels like safety. They spent years thinking I'd always be there, that they could burn the bridge, and I'd still build another. But they finally learned what happens when the bridge builder walks away, taking every piece with him. And I learned something too. Family isn't the people who share your name. It's the ones who show up when your world falls apart, not when theirs does. And no one, not even blood, has a permanent claim on your kindness if they treat it like a currency to be spent. This wasn't revenge. It was survival. And for the first time in my life, I'm truly living.